Hello, and welcome to our session, Living in Teams? Now, so does your intranet. We're really excited to be talking to you about our ongoing journey to make collaboration even better with powerful integrations between SharePoint and Microsoft Teams. I'm Tejas Mehta, and I'm a program manager on the SharePoint Experiences team with a focus of bringing SharePoint experiences to life in Microsoft Teams. I'm here with my colleague Prateek.
Hello everyone, I am Prateek Dudeja. I am a program manager in the OneDrive and SharePoint team, and I'm very excited to be here to talk to you about some great new experiences that we are bringing from SharePoint to Teams.
Okay, let's get started. Over the past couple of years, we deliberately focused on amping up team collaboration scenarios, bringing the richness of SharePoint directly into Teams, across files, lists, and pages, and connecting them seamlessly with persistent, chat-based communication. We'll continue to innovate more there, making it even easier to bring your existing SharePoint content into Teams. But now, we're going beyond team collaboration and are super excited to share with you news about how easy we're making it to bring your organization's intranet into Teams, fulfilling our promise to truly make Teams the one-stop shop users desire, without requiring them to bounce around between apps. We're making it easier for organizations to reach employees with content, news, and information, and enable users to quickly discover and consume it all in one place. Now, this session is organized into two sections. Part 1, Your Intranet, now in Teams. We won't bury the lead, and we'll share the new Homesite app in Teams, enabling you to deliver your intranet to users within Teams. And then Part 2, Next-Gen Team Collaboration. Not to be completely outdone, we'll share announcements and show the latest on how SharePoint and Teams is better than peanut butter and chocolate. But first, let's quickly recap SharePoint and the role it plays in the context of Microsoft 365. Effective content management and collaboration has become critical as we have so many ways to work together with our teams. SharePoint really is at the center of this as the content platform across all of Microsoft 365, enabling collaboration across the suite. As you will see in this session, content served up by SharePoint powers not just the rich team collaboration experiences you know and love, but is also the engine for intelligent, dynamic, and distributed intranet experiences across the entire suite. And of course, content stored in SharePoint is secure, leverages AI, and is extensible, enabling enterprise developers to build custom collaboration solutions on top of SharePoint content. There are two primary types of SharePoint sites. The first is a team site focused on, you guessed it, team collaboration. For those of you unfamiliar with SharePoint team sites, they connect you and your team to the content, information, and apps your team relies on every day. For example, you can use a team site to store and collaborate on files, or to store and manage lists of information, or create and publish pages and news to keep your team informed on the group's progress. On a team site homepage, you can view links to important team files, apps, and web pages and see recent activity in the activity feed. As I noted on the previous slide, team sites really are the backbone of content collaboration in Microsoft 365 and back every Office 365 group and hence every Microsoft team. The second type of site is a communication site. Communication sites are designed to inform and engage. Unlike a team site, where the primary goal is to collaborate to create content together with a group, the main goal of a communication site is to inform readers, primarily for them to consume, not create. Communication sites provide a great way to share information with dozens, hundreds, or thousands of people, or your entire organization, or share important news and content in a visually compelling format. Communication sites are the building blocks for the intelligent intranet, and help organizations connect information with their employees dynamically, intelligently, not just on the web, but also to the places your employees are spending their time, as you will soon see. Switching gears to Teams, as you probably already know, Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork. It's a chat-based app that enables teams to be more productive by giving them a single place to get their work done. Users can communicate in chats or channels, or with meetings and calls. They can also collaborate on content across Microsoft 365, for example with the Office applications, SharePoint, Planner, Power BI, and so on, as well as third-party apps through a number of plugins and integrations, for example GitHub and Trello. Now, we can't have a SharePoint and Teams session without reiterating Microsoft's commitment to bringing the best content experiences directly into Teams. If you're an organization that has embraced Teams as the new way of working, with users centralizing on a chat-based app, then we celebrate that by promising to deliver the richness of SharePoint directly inside of Teams. This commitment carries across traditional team collaboration scenarios, as you might have seen over the past couple of years, and as we described earlier, now also extends to broad portal and intranet scenarios. Okay, That's enough preamble for me. Time to dive into part one, the intranet, now in Teams. Pratik, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tejas. When we speak to M365 users, we consistently hear that they are spending a majority of their time in Microsoft Teams. Staying within a single hub helps them to focus and maintain their flow without getting distracted by multiple apps or browser tabs. On the other hand, we have IT admins and corporate communication teams who publish important company news and information in the company's intranet built on modern SharePoint. Helping users discover and engage with this content has always been important, but it has become even more critical as users have transitioned to working remotely over the last few months. We embarked on a journey late last year to help you meet your users where they are. And today, I am very excited to bring to you our solution, the new Home Site app in Microsoft Teams. A single destination where your users can access your company's intranet, including its most important portals and resources, without ever having to leave Teams. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? But before we go through the details of the new Home Site app, let's quickly talk about how some customers are enabling this scenario today and what's missing in that experience. If you set up a SharePoint portal as a third-party app in Teams, you will notice that it is a subpar experience with multiple headers, competing navigation elements, and lack of support for key features such as search and mega menus. With the Home Site app, we wanted to solve all of these problems, but not just that. We want to offer a comprehensive intranet experience that is built keeping the Teams user in mind. We want to make sure that your beautiful landing portal is showcased in Teams in all of its full glory, and users can easily access other internet resources if they so wish. To show you all of these cool capabilities, let me switch to a demo. So here I am on Microsoft Teams. You will notice this new company branded Home Site app that has been pinned to the top of the Teams app bar by my admin. By navigating to this app, I can access my company's intranet right within Teams. Let's go through the experience of actually using the intranet in Teams and see what that's like. Like most organizations, Contoso's portal, the landing, offers me a quick snapshot of my company news and provides a complete set of wayfinding capabilities via the hub navigation and the mega menus. We have also embedded some special actions to help users when they are accessing their portal in Teams. So I can refresh this page, open it in the browser, or grab a link to it if I want to share it with others. Right below company news, we have the recommended viewing section. The interesting thing about this section is that it has been audience targeted by my corporate communications team. So as Megan, who is a designer, I am seeing content that's relevant for her. Let's look at this same app from a different user's perspective and see what they find. So here I am on the Home Site app, now from a different user, Lydia's perspective. Lydia is a project manager on the Mark 8 program, and the content in the recommended viewing section is especially targeted at her. This content has been audience targeted by using the power of SharePoint, and all the targeting preferences that you set up in SharePoint are automatically available to your users in Teams. This ensures that your users find the content on your portal relevant and useful at all times. Let's go back to Megan's view of the Home Site app. So here I am on the Home Site app, back as Megan. I come across this news post talking about progress of construction at our Singapore campus. I've been waiting for an update on this topic for a while now, so let's check it out. The news post opens right within Teams, so that's nice. And as I glance through it, I realize that this would be interesting for my teammates to read as well. So I grab a link to it and paste it in the channel that I have with my team. You see how the link transforms into a beautiful adaptive card with rich information and context. As a reader, when I click on this card, it opens in a full screen experience that we call the stage view. The stage view offers an immersive reading experience which emphasizes the main content of the news post without distracting the reader with unnecessary headers or navigation elements. You will also notice that the reader's context here is fully maintained. So I can read through this news post and then close it to go back to the channel that I came from. And hey, look, there's already a comment on my post. We believe this is a simple but really powerful scenario that comes to life when we marry your internet with Microsoft Teams. And this is a great opportunity for you to grow collaboration on your internet content in a way that was just not possible before. Let's go back to the Home Site app to continue exploring. As I scroll down, I see this Microsoft Stream video. I have always been a big fan of the Employee Showcase section, where I can check out some really cool videos uploaded by my colleagues. Let's check out the video from this week. I can play this video inline or maximize it for a fully immersive experience. Wow, this place looks amazing. I'm going to go ahead and like this video and remember to add it to my travel wish list as well. As I scroll down further, I come across this PowerPoint document talking about our company's giving program for this year. You will see that this document opens in the rich file preview experience offered by Microsoft Teams. We have made sure that all these experiences are fully consistent with what users would expect to naturally happen within Teams. And I can close this to go back to the Home Site app. So that is the Home Site app in Teams. But we are not done yet. I had promised in the beginning that through the Home Site app, we aim to offer a comprehensive intranet experience. And to bring that point home, pun intended, I'd like to introduce you to the Global Navigation panel. I can open this panel by clicking on my company's icon in the Teams app bar. This panel shows me a list of all company-curated intranet resources. You need to configure these resources only once in SharePoint, and they will just show up in Teams. Not only that, if you apply any audience targeting to the resources in this list, that will also be fully honored in Teams. Below the list of company-curated resources, there is a separate section covering sites and news that are most relevant to me. You can imagine how this panel makes it really easy for me to find information from across my intranet without ever having to leave Teams. Let's say I want to access our HR site, Contoso Works. I find it within the Benefits section in the Global Navigation panel and click on it. Now I can review all my HR-related information right here. And when I'm done, I can just click on the Teams back button to go back to the home site. This is super convenient, don't you think? Now, finding information on the intranet via global navigation and menus is one approach, but we also know that a large proportion of users find intranet content via search. Here again, we have tried to make sure users can do this within Teams in a way that feels natural. When I'm on the Home Site app, I can start a search in the Teams search bar. I see this new suggestion to search my query on the intranet. Clicking on this takes me to the SharePoint search results page of this site. In this case, we are opening the SharePoint site with search results page to ensure that any investments that you have made in customizing the search experience are fully available to your users. And that's the new company branded Home Site app in Teams with global navigation and built-in search support. Let's go through some details on how you can set up this app in your organization. The Home Site app will support all modern SharePoint content and will open it in context in Teams. We will also ensure that when users interact with other M365 content, they get a consistent experience that they expect in Teams. And like I mentioned during the demo, the global navigation panel is the same across web and Teams. So once it is configured in SharePoint Web, it will automatically be available in the Home Site app in Teams. If you want to learn more about configuring the global navigation panel in SharePoint Web, I'd recommend checking out the session on Architecting Your Intelligent Intranet by Melissa Torres and Dieter Janssen. Let's talk about how you can configure the Home Site app. We will be providing a configuration experience on the home site that is nominated in your tenant. So, just like you would use the home site to configure your global navigation resources, you will be able to set up this app from the same destination. All you have to do is provide a set of branding details, including your organization's logo that you would like to use. Once you're done, we will automatically package the app and deliver it to Teams Admin Center. Once the app is available in Teams Admin Center, you will be able to use all the app management capabilities that Teams provides, including setup policies to pin the app by default for your users. In case your organization has needs to support different apps for different user segments, such as students, staff, or frontline workers, we will also be sharing more information in due time on how you can support these advanced configuration scenarios. So there you go. That was all about bringing your internet to Teams. We truly believe that this app offers a step function improvement in your internet experience, and it will help your users connect with company information without ever having to leave the hub for teamwork that they love. And now it's back to Tejas to talk about all the great new collaboration capabilities that we are bringing to Microsoft Teams.
Thanks, Prateek. You are a hard act to follow, but I'll try anyway. As noted earlier, we're committed to making team collaboration better by bringing the richness of SharePoint directly into Teams. In this section, we'll show you how you can take advantage of all the integrations we currently have between SharePoint and Teams to take collaboration to the next level. I'll also share new capabilities that are coming soon. Before I dive into demo, I'll quickly cover the aspects of the integrations that you can take advantage of today. First is in the area of files. If you missed the announcements earlier this year, we've made great inroads to provide users full fidelity access to their document libraries without leaving Teams. You now get the benefit of all the actions, filtering, sorting, grouping, and other capabilities you'd expect from a document library right in the Channel Files tab. I'll show this to you in just a few moments. The next area is surfacing other SharePoint resources, namely pages and lists. In addition to bringing high-fidelity file experiences to Teams, you'll see that our work doesn't stop there. I will show you how easy it is for you to add pages and lists to your channels and enable chat with your team about them. Finally, in the spirit of making it even easier to add Teams functionality to existing sites that you might already have, we've made substantial improvements to our Teamify feature based on your feedback. We're making it easier to bring rich content from SharePoint directly into the new team that gets created, and I'll do a demo for that as well. So without further ado, let's jump over to the demo so you can see all of this in action. Okay, let's start on a site that's been active for some time to really give you a sense for the capabilities that are symmetric between SharePoint and Teams. This is the Mark 8 Team site, and scrolling down, I'll pause on the Activity Web part to really give you a sense for the content and activity that's already here. You'll notice there are cards for documents, a list, a recent email that's been sent to the group's mailbox because this team site is connected to an Office 365 group, and some pages. I'll continue to scroll down a little bit further and call out the fact that this looks a little bit different from the default team site homepage. And that's because you have the flexibility to really make this page adapt to the needs for your team, with layouts and a wide range of web parts to bring valuable content from the site and other sources into one place. On this page, we have a planner web part for quick, at-a-glance visibility into tasks for my team. This is just an example of the customization you can do to make the page more valuable for your team. I'll scroll back up, and you might notice that there are a number of links that have been pinned to the left navigation to really make it easy for my teammates to find important resources for the team. You'll notice that there's a link to the European accounts list. Let me click on that to see what's going on there. Quickly, you'll see that there are a couple of columns that already have column formatting, visually differentiating themselves from the other columns. But this is a SharePoint list, and you might already be familiar with some of the capabilities that lists provide. You can sort columns by ascending or descending. You can filter them by value. You can group them by particular values. You can switch views on the list. Let me pick a view for status, which is effectively a grouping by status value. I can click on filter, and you effectively do metadata-based navigation to really filter down to the content that's important for me. Now, in this particular session, we're not intending to do a deep dive into the broad set of list capabilities. If you're interested in those, I suggest you attend the list session. Now, similarly, if I was to switch over to the document library, you'll also see custom formatting like that you saw in the list. Now, the document library also provides very similar capability in terms of sorting, filtering, grouping, changing views. It's super easy to drill down to find the file or item that you need to work on or collaborate with others. Now, this site is connected to an Office 365 group, and it has a Microsoft team associated with it. You might have noticed from the Teams link in the left navigation. Let's switch over to the team to show you how we're bringing the same richness of SharePoint lists and libraries there. Okay, here I am in the Mark 8 project team. Now, this is the team resource for the same Office 365 group to which the site that I just showed you is connected. So this happens to be the Teams resource. I've landed here in the posts or the conversations tab of the team, and you can see in the general channel, there's a number of conversations, chats taking place amongst my teammates. I'm going to start by clicking on the Files tab here to just show you how those symmetric experiences are between SharePoint and Teams. So I showed you the document library inside of SharePoint, and now you're seeing a view of it render right here inside of Teams. What you're seeing is the new Files experience that we've recently rolled out a few short months ago, and it looks very much like the document library that I showed you, and that's because it is the document library in its full fidelity and rich glory, including all of the columns of metadata that are added here. The commanding that you'll see at the top is a very familiar set of commands that you would expect to see in a document library, including sync. So let me just quickly show you that I am syncing these files locally, so I don't have to leave Teams to start pulling these files down locally and leveraging the OneDrive for Business sync capabilities. I can take files and pin them directly to the top of the document library. So let's do that. Let's pin that to the top. Similar functionality that you get from the document library as well. I can click on a column and sort them in ascending or descending fashion. I can filter or group by. Let me filter here and pick a couple of different statuses. Click on apply. So very quickly, you're realizing that you get all of the same benefits of the document library now directly hosted inside of Teams. And that is the power of a shared control. And in this case, it's a shared control that was engineered by the OneDrive and SharePoint team. And it powers not just this experience inside of Teams, but it's also hosted in other experiences across Office 365. This really allows for that full richness of SharePoint that I was talking about to be hosted natively in different experiences so that they're not built bespoke for the different places that you happen to work. As an example, what I'll do is I'll show you what this looks like in the group mailbox. So I just switched over here to the Outlook mailbox for the same group, the Mark 8 project team. Let me click on the Files tab here. And as it comes up, I'll click on the general folder, which is the list of files that we were just looking at inside of Teams. And you have the very same set of files, the same document library, powered by the same control. I think we showed a number of different things. We can switch views, which I think we've showed. You can take columns and drag them around. You can edit the view here directly. So it's great. Again, as part of our promise to deliver more rich SharePoint experiences and content directly into Teams, this is one example of that. While we're on the topic of shared controls, there's another one that's rolling out that's of interest. Is I can take a file, select it, click on copy link, and what you'll see is the common familiar sharing dialog that you see in other experiences across Office 365. This is the link settings control in the share dialog that allows me to pick the specific permissions. Now it's the same control that powers the experience in OneDrive, in SharePoint, File Explorer, and the Office applications, and so on. It's the same familiar control, same options at your disposal. In this case, you can change permissions on the link and remain confident that the recipients will be able to access. So I'll click on Cancel here and go back to the Posts tab. So you'll see that there's some chat activity taking place here in the General channel. I'm going to click over here on another channel called Design. And you'll notice that, outside of just the posts that you're seeing from individuals here, you're seeing SharePoint News showing up here. Now, this is an example of a connector, and we've created a SharePoint News connector that can be configured for any channel. And you'll see in this case, the SharePoint News connector is already configured for this channel. And what this connector does is it listens for any news that's published from the backing SharePoint team site for the given team. And anytime that happens, the SharePoint News connector will publish a message into the message feed with a rich preview, thumbnail preview of any images that might be in the underlying article, a little tidbit of text from the article itself. You can click on the link and be directed to the news article itself. This is a great way to bring SharePoint content directly into the conversation aspect of Teams so that you can make sure that everyone on the team is aware of the news that's taking place, but you're also able to then engage in rich conversation and discussion around the same. So that's the news connector. Another way to bring some of the richness of SharePoint directly into Teams is through the Add a Tab feature. So in Teams, in any given channel, I can click on the plus here. I'm going to pick the SharePoint tab. And the SharePoint tab allows me to pick from pages or lists from the backing team site for this group. In this case, you can see a list of a number of pages that are already there, and I can certainly pick one of those. Another option that we've recently made available is not only can you pick from pages from the backing site, which we show you in these two pivots here between these pages and lists, but we've added this option to add a page or list from any SharePoint site from within your tenant. So if you click on that, you can paste a link to a page or a list, and that will be added as a tab as well. So just as an example, I'm going to pick this particular page to pin. And this is a great way to bring the richness of SharePoint pages directly into Teams. And now you have this in the same collaborative space. I can initiate a chat around this page here by clicking here or by going back to the Posts tab. And you'll see that that page has already showed up in the message feed. In the same way that I added the page just now as a tab, I can also add a list. And I've previously done that with the European accounts list that I showed you in the site before. So I'll click on that, and I'm not going to go and demonstrate all of the same list capabilities, but here you have the same list, and you can do all of the things that you were able to do on the list inside of SharePoint. So slowly but surely, I've been sort of building up this narrative and showing you examples of how you can bring really rich SharePoint content experiences directly into the collaboration space that is Microsoft Teams. Okay, so I showed you a glimpse into some of the great SharePoint experiences that we've brought into Teams. Let's talk a little bit about how Teams shows up in SharePoint. You'll notice that if I go back to posts here, or even if I focus on the channels that you see, this team has a number of different channels. Now, for each of these channels in the backing SharePoint team site, there's a corresponding document library, corresponding folder. So I'm going to go back to the site. Click on the document library. Okay, so I'm back on the document library, and you'll notice the set of folders that show up here. Many of them match to the channel structure. Each of the channels that you see in the team show up as folders here. So if I was to click on the general channel folder, for example, click out of here, you'll notice that we've added some messaging and a banner at the top of the folder that indicates that this folder is connected to a channel in Microsoft Teams. We've introduced a link that will allow you to go directly to the channel conversation. There's also a command in the command bar that will allow you to do the same. Another thing that we've done to really help bind these channel folders better to their corresponding channel is we've blocked the ability to rename the folders that are mapped to channels outside of the Teams experience. So if I click on rename here, I get an error basically saying that if I want to update the folder, I need to go and do that and manage the channel directly from Teams. Okay, well, that concludes the first two parts of this demo. A common scenario we hear from customers falls along the lines of, hey, we already have existing team sites. Some of them are group connected already, but others aren't. How can I add Teams capabilities to them, or am I out of luck? Well, you certainly aren't out of luck. Every Microsoft team is backed by a Microsoft 365 group, also known as an Office 365 group, and it's possible to add a team to an existing group. This means that if you already have group connected team sites, you're good to go. You can add a team and it's just a click away. In fact, we had a feature shipped about a year ago that we colloquially refer to as Teamify that's been available that offers site owners the option to add Teams capability directly from SharePoint. Let me quickly show you that. So here I am on a group connected team site. Does not yet have a team associated with this particular group, but we did ship a feature that's available already today where you can add Microsoft Teams capability to that particular group. Now, for those of you that have classic team sites and want to modernize them and add teams to them, this is also possible, but there's an extra step involved. You first need to connect that classic site to a new Office 365 group, and then taking that additional step of teamifying it. So in this next demo, we want to show you some of the improvements that we've been making to this teamification scenario, and we're making it even better. We heard overwhelming feedback from users that adding a team to an existing group was useful. So the feature, the way it works today, is I would click on Add Microsoft Teams. We would create a new team for this group behind the scenes, and then navigate the user directly to it, to the general channel. But if the user clicked on the Files tab, they didn't see any of their existing SharePoint documents. They didn't see any of their existing SharePoint content from their existing team site, because in the Files tab, you're actually one level deeper in the document library in the general folder. So let's just show you what these improvements are. The idea is to really make it easier to take your existing content in SharePoint and then bring it directly into the new team that you create. So as mentioned before, I'm on a group connected team site here. It's Contoso Procurement USA. This happens to be a site that was originally a classic team site in the past, and I had gone through the process and added an Office 365 group to it. And as noted before, there is this banner that we surface in the left navigation that invites users to add a team. So what we've done, this entry point here to add a team already exists, and I can go ahead and click on that. And that invokes a new wizard that we've created that gives you kind of a step-by-step process that helps me walk through the addition of a team. So the first panel basically informs the user that I can bring resources from this site into the new team that I'm creating, which makes it easier for me to collaborate around that content with my colleagues and take advantage of all of the great capabilities that Teams provides. I'll click on Continue here. And in the second panel of the wizard, I'm presented with a set of resources from this existing site that I can pick and automatically have them pinned as tabs in the new team that's being created in its general channel. So you'll see the document library is already pre-selected. And there's some information telling the user that document library will actually show up as the Files tab inside of the new team in the general channel. And then we pre-select the home page for the team in this list because that often the configured home page is a great set of content and activity that you can hit the ground running with when you land in the team's experience. And you'll see pages, lists, and document libraries. And we've introduced pivots for these as well. So you can select pages. Let's pick a list here. So I've got 4 items here that I want to pin as tabs in the new team that's getting created. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Teams now. The team is being created behind the scenes. The team creation is completed, and now the resources are being pinned. So now I'm going to tab over to the team itself. Contoso Procurement USA team is here. Let me click on the General tab. You can see that the new team was successfully created, and I'm here in the General channel, and you'll notice there are a number of tabs that have already been pinned to the channel. Let me click through them really quickly to verify that the content that I'd selected from the site made it through. I'll click on Home, and you'll see it's the same home page that made it through. Export Regulations 2021 was another page that I selected from the site. And there was a list, Vendor List 2020. Now, if I'd gone through this process and realized that there were other resources that I should have added, whether they were pages, these are all tabs that can be added or removed. And I can add new tabs as well from the backing site, like I showed you earlier in the demo. Let me click on the Files tab. And you'll see that I'm in the General channel. So I'm in the General channel Files tab. And it's empty. And that's because there's a new folder that was created in the root of the document library called General, and there's nothing there yet. But what we did was we introduced the ability to navigate up the breadcrumb to get to the root of the document library to see all of my SharePoint files that are already there. Now, when my teammates visit this team, they won't be lost. They'll have a familiar connection to their existing SharePoint content right here in Teams, whether it's in the Files tab or any of the other tabs that have been added to the channel. So there you have it. That wraps up the whirlwind tour of SharePoint and Teams integrations to make collaboration even better. That concludes our demo portion of this session. To draw everything to a close, I'll turn it back to you, Pratik.
In this session, we talked about the home site app experience on Teams desktop. This is currently in private preview, and our plan is to release it to GA in early 2021. We are also working on some exciting new experiences for the home site app on Teams Mobile, so stay tuned for that. On the team collaboration front, some of the great capabilities of using your document libraries, lists, and pages in Teams are available now, and the improved Teamify experience will be available very soon in Q4 of 2020. And we'd like to leave you with these calls to action. Teamify your existing team sites to add some great collab superpowers to them. Start thinking about moving to a modern SharePoint intranet experience if you haven't already. A great place to start is to set up a single modern landing page in your organization and go from there. Start planning the resources you'd like to bring to your global navigation. All of these steps will help you onboard quickly to set up the home site app once it's available. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing these updates to you from SharePoint and Teams.